69 million households now canceling their vacations, driving less, cutting back on their grocery bills thanks to inflation. A new Gallup poll finding 56% of Americans say rising prices are causing financial hardship, up from 49% in January. Joining me now, Nebraska Congressman Adrian Smith. He's a member of the Ways and Means Committee. Congressman, if the Republicans retake the House in November, really January, what are you going to do about it?
Well, there's so much we need to do. The inflation crisis right now, the supply chain crisis. We need to get people back to work. We have folks who have left the workforce in huge numbers. Workforce participation rates were actually better in the fall of 2008 than they are right now. We need to fix that.
But how do you fix that? And how do you alleviate inflation? Because quite frankly, some of your colleagues have voted for, and maybe you did as well, infrastructure, the semiconductor bill, but not voting to send money to the border, to close our border, to stop fentanyl deaths. But the Republicans in the last year and a half have been in some way part of the problem.
Well, I voted against those measures that you mentioned. So certainly we need to change the spending patterns, and that will happen with a new Republican majority. But we need to get folks back to work. We need to re-implement work requirements for federal benefits. These are things that I think can ultimately ease prices overall, given the fact we have so many job vacancies around the country that's leading to, like I said, the supply chain crisis and higher prices.
Todd, jump in.
I'll jump on the beat up on Republicans train here for a moment, Congressman. Are Republicans taking the bait laid by the Democrats when it comes to the campaign trail by focusing on issues like abortion, which basically play in the Democrat sandbox, when in reality Republicans should be hitting the economy as exhibit A, B, C, and D and beyond on the campaign trail solely because at the end of the day, we're in big trouble?
Well, I'll certainly point to what my colleague Tom Emmer said. This is an election about gas and groceries. The American people are feeling this every day, several times every day. And they're focused on that, and Republicans are focused on that, certainly given the economic concerns that we have. And the American people know. They've already said that they trust Republicans to lead us to a better economy, a stronger opportunity for the future for everyone out there. And the fact of the matter is, we need to get folks back to work.
And let's talk about the student loan bailout. Analysis has found, Congressman, that it could cost up to $1 trillion. And you are pushing a bill that would stop the mass cancellation of student loans and one that would prevent extending the moratorium on repaying these loans. Tell me more about this, because I think Senator Joe Manchin referred to the student loan bailout as excessive. Instead, he should be saying, well, illegal and out of the president's power.
Well, Nancy Pelosi herself, Chuck Schumer have already indicated that the president cannot do this without a vote of Congress. The president is trying to do it because I don't think he can get it through the House and the Senate. I think this is one of the most irresponsible moves by a president of our country, certainly as it sets the framework moving forward. But it puts us deeper in debt. It sends the wrong message. The problem is high tuition rates. And this is just going to add to higher tuition, even more than what it is now. And we do have a student loan problem. We ought not just throw money at it. We need to make sure that these folks across America feel empowered with better jobs and back into the workforce in ways that they can make those payments. They're modest, but we should not send the wrong message like the president is doing.
Again, Congressman, continuing my theme of how do you play this in the midterms, Biden has seen a bump, at least with the Generation Z cohort, who could potentially be voting for the very first time in their midterms. So how do you combat that on the campaign trail? Because Biden's basically given a nice handout to a bunch of people. That's going to be tough to combat. How do you do it?
Well, it often is tough to combat, but I really believe that folks across the age spectrum, they understand the debt that our country faces, the spending that has taken place recently that is leading us to this point. And to just throw money at it, just to throw money at it is not the solution. In fact, it achieves quite the opposite result. And the American people know this. When I engage with folks across Nebraska and even beyond, they do not like the fact that the president did this. The president's speech the other night, it was rooted in anger. And the president, I don't think, can get more votes by expressing this anger. I think the American people want us to lead with inspiration. I think the American people realize that Republicans can do exactly that. But it's up to us to carry this out, to get us in a better trajectory economically, and get the spending in order, to realize that, hey, we've got big topics to handle come January, hopefully with the new majority. And we need to bring folks together, unify our country, and I think Republicans can do that.
Well, the White House is defending that speech, that soul of the nation speech, a week ago. Really quick, listen to this, Congressman.
People have talked about if it was divisive. It wasn't divisive. The way that we saw the speech is that he was talking to majority of the country who agree that we have to protect our democracy, who agree that we have to protect our freedom, who agree that we have to protect our rights.
He's vilifying and castigating half the country. Congressman, I'm going to leave it with that. Thank you so much for being here. You be well.
Thank you for having me.
Please come back.
It's good to be on with you.
Congressman
Thank you.
Adrian Smith.